It's now time for Monster Soup, with your really fun at parties host, Dave Spencer, and his level-headed co-host, Brian McKinney. These dudes will explore all the crazy mysteries roaming our forest and deserted hallways. After all, monsters are real. It's Monster Soup time right now. Get it while it's hot. Now your hosts, Dave and Brian.
Sorry, guys. I just realized that Brian was wearing a full outfit. Welcome to Monster Soup, everyone. A kitchen of conversation for misfits, cryptids, and these kids. I'm David Spencer, your golden retriever host. And at Costco, they call him Old Brian without a bun. Just give me the glizzy straight to my face. Or as we know him, Brian McKinney. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing fantastic. I heard that we have a party today, so I had to get my party attire on. I got some noisemaker. I have some of these things left over from New Year's. You know, I got all the good stuff. We're here celebrating the birthday boy.
I like that before the pod, you weren't wearing any of this stuff, and then
I wanted to surprise you.
Jump to the video.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Today is for those who aren't aware, am I 43? After a certain time, you just you don't count anymore. Am I wrong? At least I don't. I'm 43, I think.
You pretty much lose track or stop caring. You know, one of the two.
I have no the next monumental birthday I have is my AARP card. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So today I was just I'm gonna, I took the day off of work. I was just gonna hang all day. But nature had other plans, and what was it?
Yeah, the giant
sheet
ice
of
storm
everywhere, and I fell. I went out to my car. And I fell down the stairs. I caught myself. I text Patty. It was check the ring cam. I did a solid catch. I didn't break my back, whatever, and I just kept going. But yeah, it was the whole thing. I was like, oh God, no one saw that. And then I look out and there's two cop cars adjacent that were just parked on our street, and I'm just there's no cops in there. There were.
Yeah.
So, look at this guy. But yeah, so I had a plan just all my plans were enacted and I was able to do everything. It's just the whole thing about being at home, when no one's you just kind of have domain over your space. You're I can do whatever I want. Not that was even
home. Yeah.
It's what are you guys doing here? That PlayStation's mine to play.
Yeah, I felt last week on some ice in my backyard. I went out to put some chemicals in the hot tub, and they're stored in that little barn we have in the backyard. And there's that little ramp, so you could push the lawnmower up and down to get into the barn, and it was covered in snow. But I walked right in, opened the door, got my stuff, walked out. I walked in 2 or 3 times to get different chemicals to put in the hot tub. When I went to finally put the stuff away, I guess I didn't come at it, straight on, came at it kind of from an angle. And I just put one foot on there. And the next thing I know is I'm flying through the air. My feet are straight up in the air. And I'm just seeing the clouds. And I smashed into on the basically the edge of the ramp. The ramp's only about 6 inches probably off, on its pitch. Yeah. But, on the edge, my back basically just broke over it. I smashed my head into the wall of the little barn, and chemicals are all over the backyard, and I'm just
cool.
It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something, I was taking my lunch from work, and I was working from home, and the yard's all snowy and everything, and I'm down just rolling around in the snow, and I'm I could only imagine if somebody was looking out here, because I'm just I had a few not safe for podcast words that were exposed through my neighborhood as I was, yelling my displeasure to the situation.
Some old grandma, it's clenching her hands against some little kid's ears. Don't listen to that. Come back inside.
That guy is really upset. I came in, I had to change my clothes because I was soaking wet, and then for like a day and a half, I had like bruises and, my back hurt and my side, like everything at my side, my wrist hurt, because I basically landed on my right side. It just bent over the edge of that ramp. But yeah, I haven't fallen like that in years.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember the last time I fell straight like that. And because it was so monumentous, and it was when we were remodeling our what was it, our bathroom upstairs, and I was just like, so we made this little like a makeshift shower in the basement, and my father-in-law was over, and he was like working on the bathroom, and I was taking a shower, and it was like a tarp with a baby or like a kiddie pool like underneath it, just kind of catch the water, and then like that's how we had it set up. Well, I was like walking across the basement because like our laundry was also down there, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get my laundry. It's across the way, and I heard what I thought was him coming, and so I ran really quick across the basement, and then I forgot that halfway through the basement, like at that time, was linoleum, but the half that I was on currently was like rough kind of concrete. So I had really good. I was like, "Oh, I gotta go!" And then the moment foot hit the linoleum, it was like a slip and slide, and I went full, like you said, feet up, and hit my tailbone, slammed it on the ground. I haven't cried since I've been a child. I have like cried out in pain in a way, and I was like, that like comical like cry. I was like, By the way, everyone was home. No one heard me.
Nobody cared is really what it was.
Everyone was sleeping. Like everyone, I was like, "Did you hear me last night?" I was like crying out. But my wife's just like, "I didn't hear a word," and I'm just like, "Well, good to know that if I die, that's how I'm going." Just
the kids are probably like, "This is scary. Dad's crying. Something must really be wrong. I don't want any part of that."
Yeah, hurt so bad. I just landed right on my tailbone, and it was just I thought I broke it. Like I was for sure like, this is what it feels like to break your tailbone, and I must have been like right up to like the point where I would have snapped it, because like it hurt so bad. But jeez, freaking slipping as an adult. I guess as a kid too, but you just go down so hard and you're like, why did that happen?
Yeah, and I'm usually pretty careful, and like I said, it's been years since I've fallen like that, and it's like no wonder old people, the one slip and you're dead, or you end up in the hospital with a whole bunch of other problems. It was like before I even knew it, I was upside down flying through the air. There was not even any chance of me trying to like grab something and stop myself. It was like that fast. Yeah.
Which by the way, so today for my birthday, I was just like, my plan was like, I'll go to the art museum. Like, so somebody mentioned, like, I was trying to think of something to do. I was like, oh, let's go to the art museum, because I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of have like a moment and just like look around and give me something to do. Because I always like to do something on my birthday, and I just thought that was fun. And I get there and I get to the parking garage. I'm like, surely it's the middle of the day and everyone's at work. There were so many cars in the parking lot. The only thing I could think of was like, why are these people working? Like, just like angrily. And then I get inside and it's like all old people. I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. They're all retired. Just like at the museum. But ended up being like really cool. Like I was just like, I kind of was like, I was like, where's this gonna go as far as like how fun it's gonna be? Because it's just
was it just you, or was the whole family with you?
No, just me. Yeah. I was gonna bring my kids and stuff, but then my son didn't want to go, and then Cora wanted to go, but then she had gymnastics, so I was like, do you want to go? And she's like, yeah. And then I was like, and then we realized like logistically we'd only be able to be there for like half an hour. By the time we like got out there, we'd almost have to like turn right around. I was like, oh god, I'm so glad we decided not to do that, but because it just, like I said, logistically wouldn't have worked. I just got back. I mean, he like texted me. I was like, did you send me the link to the podcast? I'm like, no, not yet. I'm driving home. But
were you able to see the Picasso and paper exhibit?
Yes, I did, and it made me realize I don't think Picasso's a very good artist.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go see that. I think it's there through like March 1st or something, or sometime in March. But I think it's the only spot in North America that they're having that display.
Yeah, it was really cool. I actually almost missed it entirely because like it's kind of confusing as the Cleveland Art Museum goes, at least to me, wasn't really like a lay of the land kind of thing. And I was just kind of coming down the escalator away. I didn't go in, and then I came down and I was just like, it said like what was it, Picasso on paper or whatever, and I was just kind of like, oh, is there like a whole, and it said exhibit, and I was like, oh, there's like a whole other like exhibit. So I kind of like flew through it because I was kind of on my way out anyway. So I just kind of looked at stuff, and I was just kind of like, maybe we didn't keep all this stuff and put it on exhibit, because some of it was like literally like pieces of paper he just like cut, and I was like, I guess you have this, but like probably isn't like an art piece.
And from what little I know about it in the advertisements I've seen, it's, you know, he's obviously not known for his art, his paper art, so it was kind of an interesting thing to see some of the other things he like noodled around with.
It is crazy going to an art museum, and they literally just have like pieces of people that you know in the zeitgeist as painters, like Monet and stuff like that. They're just like there. You're just kind of like, it's like a celebrity. It's like, I've seen this painting before, you know, like it's just here right now in front of me. And a lot of them are just like, whatever. You know, I was kind of critiquing as I'm going through. I'm like, this isn't probably like good, you know. And then there was this one piece that was like this big. I mean, it was maybe like 9 by 12 or whatever. And it was the nicest painting I'd ever seen in my life. And it was so detailed. I literally just sat there and I said out loud, how did you do this? Because it's so little and so detailed. And it was a lady. It was like kind of Victorian-ish. And she just had like a sun hat that was on the ground. I didn't log it, what it was called or anything like that. But I was just like, this is so freaking cool to look at. And I literally stood in front of her for like 10 minutes, just like looking at all the little details. And I was just like blown away by all that. And I'm not really like an artsy guy like that much at all. Like I do art, but I do like silly art. So I don't have that like,
you know, not so much also, like quote unquote fine art, you know.
Also I'm fully aware that going to the art museum on my birthday is the most pretentious thing that you can do. But you know, it was just one of those things. But so I was trying to like dial back. I didn't wear a scarf while smoking a pipe that was not lit. Just being like, I like this, you know. I was kind of trying to act as much as you could by yourself, just be like, oh, that's cool, or being like, oh, look at this. But like not as reactive. I did walk into a room and a girl got up who was like working there. She like was sitting down and she got up while I was in there. I was like, you don't need to get up. Like, don't worry about it. And she's like, no, I probably should be up. It's like, I'm not going to tell on you. It's fine. You can sit there.
She was like, oh snap, I was on break in here. Didn't think anybody was going to notice.
I know. They just stand there and watch you look at art, which God, throw me in a river. Like it sounds so boring. You know, because they want to wander over, look at the art. They've probably seen it for 8 hours straight, just kind of like, yeah, that's what that paint stroke looks like. And then I don't know, but it was very cool. And I just got back from there, and on the way back I got some soup because I wanted like a little bit of a base because I've been really hungry all day. And I got an SOB South of the Border burrito from the place downtown called, was it Erie Isle Coffee Company. And they have this thing called the SOB, which is the best thing I think in the universe, hands down. It's just a spicy burrito and it's grilled. And if I could have one meal forever, that's it. Every time I like think of it, I get excited. Every time, like this morning I woke up, I was like, I think I've gotten it for my birthday almost every year. If I'm not doing something like straight in the morning, if I have like, I'm going to give myself a little treat. Like that's always it. I'm like, what do you want? And then that's what I get. It's so freaking good. And then, yes, like I said, I've been doing keto and I've been doing really, really good on keto. And if you guys don't know what keto is, it's basically just you eat only things that have nothing good in it. So you strip the goodness out of your life and then you lose weight. It's great. It really works. But it's really, really hard. And I was like, you know what? It's my birthday.
It's your birthday. Stuff, you get a mulligan for that, you know?
Yeah. So hopefully my body gives me a mulligan after today. It doesn't go like, oh, you lost all that weight. I found it for you. I found it. It's right here.
It all came back in one day.
Yeah. So tonight we're gonna go to that. What is it? The King King Cubana.
Cubana King, I think is what it calls.
Yeah, so it's Cuban food. Very, very, very excited about that. Haven't tried that. Heard it's really, really good. I'm just gonna hoss up on that, and then we just set up our hot tub, our little like blow up hot tub that we got for like $250. So very excited about that. That's gonna be really cool. And then just like sitting there, I got some cigars. The two things I didn't think I was gonna be when I grew up was a whiskey guy and a cigar guy, because two things: I don't smoke, and I was convinced until about 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, that nobody actually liked whiskey. I think we were all pretending that every guy was like, "No, it's good. This is really good. I can taste the notes." Yeah, it's because every time I took a shot, it was always like Jack Daniels, which is just trash, and you're like, for sure, no one actually likes this. Like for sure, like this is gross. And we're all just being like, oh, I'm a guy. I have to drink gasoline, and that's what we have to do. Yeah. So like but then on my 40th birthday, my brother-in-law bought me a good thing of whiskey, and I always ate Jameson ginger ale, which is hands down the best drink that's ever been created, through and through. But straight, I was never a straight whiskey guy. And then he got me this really good whiskey, and I was like, this feels like sacrilegious to like cut this with ginger ale. If he's gonna do that, just get me bottom shelf. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I was like, let me respect this whiskey a little bit and like actually drink it straight. And then I'm sure this has a lot to do with the fact that when you get older, your taste buds just like damper like more, so you're able to like do like spicier things and etc. Like when you're a kid, like when I drunk whiskey, like growing up, I was the height of my nerve endings of my tongue, so my tongue was like, absolutely not. Yeah. Only PBR for us. But
yeah, so, life beats down your taste buds and everything, and
yeah. So I drank this whiskey, and it was amazing, and I was just like, oh, I get it now. And then like I started getting into the culture and understanding it. I'm still not like to me, whiskey's whiskey, really. I mean, like there is smoother whiskey there and stuff like that, but for the most part, like I still just like Jameson. You just give me the Jameson. Let's call it a day. I don't need to spend $400. Like I feel like when people go over 100, they're boasting at that point. I can't imagine anything would be worth $400 or past. Like they're like, oh, I spent $1,000 on this whiskey. I'm like, yeah, but like, who cares? Yeah, like, nothing's worth it like that. But it's really good. And then cigars have been a big thing for the last couple of years that I kind of just, I think actually COVID was like a real resurgence. Like when we had COVID and we were allowed to like kind of do anything, we would walk to Patty's grandparents' house and we would sit in the circle like everybody was, kind of like around a fire, 6 feet apart and stuff. And then he would just be like, you want a cigar? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And then I would just smoke that and get all, you get extra hammered. Yeah. You're just kind of like, brr. There's nothing else going on, so you might as well get drunk in the middle of the day. I wasn't working then.
Yeah. I mean, that was when COVID happened and the whole shutdown, it's almost like 5 years to the day. It was like in early March when that happened.
Yeah. Oh, I will throw a caveat in today's episode. If you're listening, is like, when are they going to get to the monsters? We're not. This is me. It's my birthday. I didn't have time to prep anything. I'm okay with that. You just have to accept it. If you like us, you hang around. If you don't, listen to the next episode. We actually have a topic. We're just going to talk about our lives this week. I'm drinking some beers. We're hanging out. Brian's wearing his hat. I need to tell you something about Brian's hat. Brian's hat, this isn't specific to this event. If you're thinking he got this before this event, he wears this hat to every party that he goes to. So we know friend Brian's coming when the blue hat comes out. So,
I think we should give a little detail as to why I wear the hat to.
Well, also real quick, the detail for the people who can only hear us and not see us is that it is a sequin blue with stars on it hat, and then he's also wearing a fedora. If you're just listening, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like a cowboy hat, and I've got a feather, a hot pink feather bow on. Who doesn't have a whole closet full of like party costume attire? I have a whole thing of hats, and oh my gosh, we have just been crap. But the hat is basically like a a bright blue like 4th of July hat, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
we were coming
Literally.
from a local brewery that's right down the street from Dave's house a couple years ago, and it was right around the 4th of July, and we went in to get. I think I went in to pick up some beer because we were going to go back to your house, and
Did
my
your son
wife.
pick us up?
What's that?
So was that when your son picked us up?
I don't know. I think Patty just drove us home, or something. I don't remember, but so I went in to grab some beer, and because we were going to sit by the fire or something, and then I'm standing in line, and you know, and I see these hats. Well, I didn't realize that my wife had walked in with your daughter to buy candy or whatever. So all of a sudden, your daughter walks around the corner, you know, and sees me standing in the aisle. And you know, if for anyone at the time, his daughter was like 5, you know, and
Yeah.
so I was like, "Hey, check out these cool hats." And I was like, "You think I should get one of these?" And then she's like, "Oh yeah, it looks awesome." So you know, I got it basically as a joke, and you know, just because it was, you know, right around the 4th of July. So I walk out all proud with this hat, you know, cost like $10. You know, I got it from Walgreens. And I get in the car, and everybody's like, "What's the deal with the hat?" And I was like, "Well, Cora said the hat was awesome." And then Cora's like, "I lied." And I was like, and then everybody laughed at me because that 5-year-old convinced me to buy this hat. And you're like, "The hat looks dumb, and you probably shouldn't ever wear it again." And me being the person I am, I was like, "Well, you know what? I'm going to wear this hat to everybody's house every time I come over for any party or anything because you all think it looks so stupid. I'm just going to wear it all the time now." And for the last couple of years, I pretty much have. Anytime there's any event, party, anything, I bring the hat. It's gross. It's been in the pool water, you know. Before, you know, everybody made fun of it for years, and now, like when I show up with it, everybody wants to take a turn wearing the party hat. Especially the kids who thought it was so dumb at the beginning. Now they all want to take turns wearing the hat in the pool and you know, so it's you know, got beer stains and chlorine stains, and it's sun faded, and probably smells like old hair BO or something. But
but you got your nose blind.
Yeah,
to it.
but you know, when I walk into a room wearing this hat, people know what's up. They know it's time to party.
They know the party started.
Yeah,
you should get some intro music. I think we all need intro music.
And I mean, anybody, not just like
your intro music.
Just I have to think about that one for a minute. There's so many choices.
I know.
I mean, it's not just this hat. Like if you walk into a party with a real like interesting hat on, people know what's up. You know.
Yeah.
They're just like, "Oh my gosh, look at that guy's hat!" Like it's a conversation starter. There's no mistaking, you know, what you're here to do. You're here to get down. Yeah.
You're here to party.
Yeah. They're like, "I don't know, that guy might just casually sit in the corner." No, not with that hat on. That guy's going to be singing karaoke and doing cartwheels in the middle of this room.
He's going to quote Tommy Boy at least once.
Yeah.
Down by the river.
You know.
Oh,
but yeah. We always talked about, like, at some point, you know, buying like a little local dive bar kind of a thing, and people having like their own theme music, almost like WWE or something. So like you walk in, and then when you walk in, your music comes on, so like it announces to everybody that you've arrived. You know, like how cool? How cool would that be? You know, you just walk in, and all of a sudden your favorite bar just starts playing. Like, I don't know.
There's a bar that exists. I know of. I heard this story once. It's called Shots, I think, or whatever, and every shot is themed. So they have like a Top Gun shot, and you wear like an aviator helmet while you take the shot, and they'll play Danger Zone on the like overhead speaker.
Yeah.
And then there's a Golden Girl shot, and they'll put like a wig on you with glasses, and then they'll play the like "Thank you for being a friend." And this guy said he kept buying them because he'd want to hear the song again. He's like, "I want to hear the Golden Girl song again because that song slaps."
Yeah.
And the guy was just like, "Hey." The guy was like, "Hey," like the bartender was like, "Hey, you can just like," from the story, he was like, "You could just like have the shot, like you don't have to do all the rigmarole if you like the shot." He's like, "I want to hear the song." Oh no, sorry, it wasn't that. He wanted to hear this. They were like, "If you want to hear the song, we can just play it again. You don't have to keep ordering the shot."
Yeah. He's like, "This is getting really expensive."
Yeah, it's like it's like the most expensive touch tunes that you're involved in. Yeah. Which I spent so much money on touch tunes, just like being really drunk and be like, "I'm gonna listen to Electric Six Gay Bar again at this bar," and I'd play it just to hear in the most biker bar ever a song called Gay Bar. I want to take you to the gay bar, gay bar. But that song slaps. It's literally my go-to touch tune song. While I'm talking, I'm also trying to think of what my theme song would be if I walked in the door. It would be. I want to say it would be a Deftones song because that would be cool, but I also want it to be silly, so I don't want it to be a Deftones song. So I want it to be like something really, really dumb, like Mambo Number 5, but not that. Like I feel like your wife, it would just be Brittany. Absolutely, oops! I hit it. Like, oops! I did it again. Like,
something like that.
I feel like the moment you said it, I'd be like, that's it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I'd
probably do my go-to karaoke song. Just a gigolo, something. Something.
I feel like the Crew would be your. Your go-to.
Yeah, really anything. I could do some Poison, like Nothing But a Good Time or something like that. But I think just the kind of with like Van Halen, being my favorite band, and David Lee Roth, being my vocal hero, I guess. The person I imitate the most when I do karaoke. I don't do such a good Freddie Mercury.
I have a story to tell about Brian real quick. So he has always told us, we'll do a thing called video roulette, and we'll play a music video. Like basically we'll just go around. We'll do the same thing with music, jukebox roulette, where basically like we'll sit around the fire and we'll listen to music and do that whole thing. And it's super fun. Everybody gets kind of a turn to kind of like and you're allowed to play whatever you want. So you can do metal if you want, you can do pop music or whatever. It's your choice. It doesn't have to fit a vibe or anything. Sometimes we do a vibe, which is actually fun if you do like a themed one. It's like songs that make you think of high school, songs to fall in love with, songs that make you drive fast. Yeah. Like those are fun categories, but usually it's just like a loosey goosey, play whatever you want. And we'll do a video version where, like, if we're just hanging out in the living room, people just play like music videos on YouTube, and then we'll just queue them up. We'll do that whole thing. Well, Brian, his go-to song is usually Just a Gigolo. Like, that's his karaoke song, so it's also his video song that he just constantly plays as like one of his karaoke things.
It's one of the best videos of the 80s.
It absolutely is. But one night we were sitting around, and I don't remember where this came from, but we discovered that David Lee Roth in that video acts exactly like his wife. Like to a T. And then we rewatched the video with that lens on, and I was just like, his mannerisms, his like showmanship of like, God. I was like, this is Caroline. Like, we're watching a video of your wife just like so we're like, this is how it happened.
This is why I like him so much. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Just how
it's like one for one. I love it so much.
That's so fun.
Oh my God. So another thing I've been doing this week is I've been starting to get a little more active on TikTok, because I was sitting in a hot tub last week. What was it? I don't remember how it was. Our friend Chris, he was just like, hey, you want to come over and like get in the hot tub? And I was like, yes, let's go. And then it was supposed to be me and Patty. She dropped out. She was like, I'm good. I just want to sit here and read. I was like, fine, that's cool, whatever. And so I just went, hang out in the hot tub. His wife eventually like left, and then we just started talking business as you do. And then he gave me a challenge. He's like, because I was like, I want to do more TikToks, but I was like, the hard thing about TikToks is like you have to like, for me, like what I have is I draw. So I was like, but I have to create something, and it's just like it takes a long time to create something, so I don't have content every day. And he was just like, well, how about just like I challenge you to do like one little drawing a day, based off of a prompt. So I've been doing that basically every day, and like culminating like, hey, put in the comments like what you want me to draw. And so if you want to follow me, Mischief Factory on TikTok. Mischief Factory, all one word. But I've been making these little drawings. Let me see if I can find, for those of you watching at the time, like this one was bubblegum, and I made this little
that's awesome
guy on a skateboard. And then let me see, Today's was bacon, so I did a little pig with an apple and a duck.
Where do you get the prompt from?
Just from the comment section. I'm just like, put it in the comments what you want it to be, and then yeah. So I just been drawing like off the top of my head, just like a little character. Because I do children's books and stuff, so it's just like it flexes that muscle that I already have. Because I sit in front of kids all the time, and I go like, give me 2 objects, and then or 2 animals, and I'll like make an animal out of the object. Like if they're like giraffe, shark, so I'll make a giraffe, shark. Just like mash it together. It's just to like teach kids how to do a character like quickly. It's just an idea of they're like, this is how you do that. It's like it doesn't have to be perfect. It just have to do it. And then it kind of builds the idea, and it's always fun. Like after the fact, they'll be like the teacher will be like, oh my gosh, they like really liked like all the kids in class were like drawing like animals that look weird, and I'm like, yes, I did my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like flexing that little muscle that I have of like making characters and doing that whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's been fun. Like especially because it gives me something to do, and I always kind of obsess about like posting stuff and like trying to like grow that audience. I know that's like for a lot of people arbitrary, but like I enjoy it, and I have a lot of things to say and give, and it's just a nice way to kind of culminate these little like activities for myself to keep me busy. Because when I create something, it always creates more things, and then I feel fulfilled, as opposed to like when I'm more dormant as a creator, I feel like I've failed everyone and I'm not doing a good job.
Yeah. Well, just having that like dopamine release of doing something that you enjoy, that's, just kind of like levels you out,
Yeah.
That's like with me, like I like, I work out or I got like play guitar or something. Like it's just a stress reliever,
Yeah.
It's like, you do it and it's almost, it's almost like I'm like meditating or something. It's like whatever that is for you, it's like you need to do it more often because or else you're just gonna go crazy.
I've been trying to just do like the New York Times like little puzzles they have, because I feel like they're like working my brain a little bit, as opposed to just like sitting there and watching like somebody else's TikTok. At least makes me think the feeling is like oh, I'm helping my brain, as opposed to like crushing it. So like this is like another way to kind of do that instead, because even at the end of the day, I'm like, I just like in the morning I have like an hour before I have to like actually get to work. Like I let the kind of get everybody out the door, and then I'm just kind of like there for an hour, and then if I don't do anything with that hour, I'm just like, well, I just wasted an hour sitting here, like just drinking coffee and being like, oh. So I don't know, being productive and like doing stuff is like the way I kind of show my body and my mind that like I'm doing better, and and not giving in to like the sadness of the world. Not that I struggle with depression at all, but I don't know, man. The last couple like months of the vibe has been off, just like for me personally, and I've just been trying to like battle that in a way where I'm like things feel off, and then like I'll think of things like some stuff happened at work, and then the climate of the world and everything. I've just been kind of like, oh gosh, another day.
You throw on top of it, it's the 3 months of the winter here, where everybody has seasonal depression just from the fact that it's just gray outside every day.
Yeah,
it's dark out early. I was driving home from work the other day, and it was like 6 o'clock, and I was almost home, and I'm like, I can still see the sunset. Like it happened to be clear that day a little bit, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're getting there. Like it's almost light out at 6 o'clock.
It's so sad. We just like yearn for the sun in Ohio, and it's just there's nothing there. There's no, thank you. I didn't see a single sun today. Did I tell you I slipped on my ass? Like first thing, just first thing in the morning. Just
and I've been trying to get out in my garage that we just put up, and we kind of turned it into like a pseudo man cave / workout room. And
how's it going?
I've been trying to get out there to work out, but like we don't really have heat in there. We just have like a little space heater. And I had that thing going for like a couple hours yesterday, and I went outside like the night before, and I worked out, and it was a nice steamy 37 degrees. It's like I have to pick and choose the days that I do it. Eventually, we're going to get gas in there and get it to where we can actually have it climate controlled. But it's like right now, like I want to go work out in the evenings, but like it's really too cold. So I basically go out there and try to suffer through it. But all I really want to do is just eat dinner, then go to bed, because it's like it's dark out and just miserable.
I know. I I just got that new bike. I was talking about that maybe 2 weeks ago, and it's been hard just to be like, all right, get on the bike. And I'm just kind of like, or anything else. Because it's just like, I've been like dragging everywhere. I'm just kind of like, yesterday, I was like, I don't want to do any of this stuff. And what was it? We have a party on Saturday, like with all of our family. Well, all Patty's family, which all of our family. And they're all coming. So my wife's been like on this, like if we had the money to remodel, she would be like remodeling this week, like just to get ready for this party. Like the things that she's doing is just like she like re-stuccoed the door. Like, stuff that like it doesn't matter, but like matters to her. So it's one of those things where you're just like, oh wow, this is a lot. And then I was just like, I'm not cleaning until Friday, just so you know. Like I'm not doing that. Like I'm not cleaning all week. That's another thing I'm gonna get into, because the moment you start that, you're just like, I just wasted an entire week cleaning this house for a 3.5 hour party. It's like, I'm not doing that.
Which you're gonna then have to clean up afterwards from.
Yeah. So like, I was like, I'll go really hard on like a Friday when we don't have the podcast now. Well, if you're listening live on Fridays, we're not here. We apologize that it's pre-recorded, but you're going to a comedy special tomorrow, right?
I am. We're going to see Sebastian Maniscalco at the Quicken Loans at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in downtown Cleveland.
Rojo Fijo.
At the Romo Fijo, yeah. So we're actually recording this on Thursday night. It's yesterday, today, I guess, for people who are listening.
Yeah. I was gonna say it would have already happened, but it wouldn't. Unless you listen to this on Saturday, which is when it dropped. So it would have already happened, and whatever happened on that show stays at that show, apparently.
But yeah, it should be fun. Yeah, we've seen him a couple times, and it's always a good time. We too, like we love stand-up comedy and go into everything, in hilarities. Just any the smaller clubs to comedy doesn't translate to me all that well in an arena a lot of the time. Like even people that I really like, it's just it's too big, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but, have you ever gone to I've never gone to a big arena one.
Yeah, I've been to a couple, and they've actually been. Yeah, it was him a couple times, and it was actually a lot better than I thought, because we sat pretty close and had good seats, so we weren't like all the way up at the top or anything. So, sometimes you go to a concert or something and you see a band. It's like if you're all the way up at the top in the nosebleeds, it's like it kind of stinks, but it's like you still hear the music and stuff, but like if I'm all the way up at the top and I have to watch the screen and watch somebody stand there and tell jokes, I might as well just watch it at home,
Yeah,
that's
I know.
It's so nice to go to like a club and see a comic, or even like if we go down to Playhouse Square or something and you're in one of the theaters. Yeah, you're still close enough that it's like we're in the same room, kind of a thing. I'm not having to watch it on the scrin.
Do you remember during COVID we went to go see Hannibal Buress? Yeah, we saw him at the drive-in, and this is a new unexplored area of stand-up comedy, and he was performing at the drive-in. This is a space, it's outdoors, it's big enough to hold
you couldn't do indoor shows, so they did it outdoors.
So everybody's in their car, and the thing about our drive-in theater is there's a train right next to it, and then a highway on the other side, and the train comes about every 10 minutes maybe. So Hannibal's like in the middle of a joke, and then he stops because there's a whole train going by, like an entire train, and it's just like, and you're just like, he just like stops, he's like, what? And then like that one would go, and he's like, all right, let's do it again. And then like another one would come. He's like, what? Is this place all trains? Like, what the heck? And then the highway's just going by, and it's like bah, 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 bah. People were just like honking the horn. And they had, so we were at the very, very back, because that's just like where we could have gone. And then they had it going on the other screen, like a video of the front screen, and we were just like watching the other movie theater screen, like we were facing that way too. We weren't even facing towards him, but the thing was like people were like flashing their lights and stuff. It was like, so weird, as like an applause, like, oh, that was a good joke. It's such a weird time.
Yeah, I just remember on the highway, like a FedEx truck was like they driving by these semis and they're honking their horns, and he's like, I've never been heckled by FedEx before.
It's so weird. It was a weird time, man. Forever.
But yeah, they were all doing that. My son worked there at the time. Yeah, like Bert Kreischer was there, and Nate Bargatze was there. And, but yeah, the only one we were able to get tickets for was Hannibal Buress.
I didn't know Nate went.
Yeah, so Evan got to see them
Nate.
when he worked there. But
Nate's
yeah, that was strange time having where can we do a comedy show? How about at the drive-in? And then they had some concerts and stuff too, but I didn't see any of those. But
that'd be fun.
Yeah,
it's a weird space. I mean, it'd be good. That would be better because the train wouldn't be as like intrusive because it's like music, so you can be like, I can hear most of it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just like a movie. Even like going to the movies there, it's like, oh, the train's here. It's just like, why did you put it here?
Yeah.
Was there nothing else available? This place, Ohio was made of fields. Put it somewhere else. Like, I understand, like, it can't be residential. But it's just like, but right, that's not even true because like right over the tracks is a residential area.
Yeah, so, I think what happened is over the years that those tracks weren't used as much, and then the train traffic has increased over the years. So it's
yeah. I mean,
but if you're just sitting in your car with the windows up listening to it on the radio, it's not as bad. But when we're when you're standing up there trying to tell jokes, it's going off.
Yeah, it just like ruins your train of thought. It's like, did people even hear this? What if you had like a banger joke coming up and you're just like, I hope they can hear this, and you're just like talking through it.
Yeah,
I just like I would lose my mojo and maybe like my cadence and step. But you know what? It was fine. I like Hannibal a lot, so it was fine.
Yeah, he's great.
I would say my top comedians are Dave Attell. What's it? Nate Bargatze is so freaking funny. Tom Segura is hilarious. There's another one I really like.
Yeah, I love Chappelle.
I like a lot of alt comedy. Like, I'm gonna feel bad if I don't mention like my alt comedy people. Because I'm bad at remembering people, and I'm like, I should have said that. I mean, obviously Mitch Hedberg isn't my all timer. Sorry, this is not me Googling things are not as images. Obviously, Patton Oswalt is my I haven't heard his stand up. The thing that sucks is like when I was growing up, everybody would have like a CD. Like, and you would have a CD, like Mike Birbiglia. And Mike Birbiglia is for sure one. Like I would listen to his CD while I like remodeled my old house, like for hours, and I would just listen to it again and again. I was like, that's over, start it over again. And now nobody puts out a CD. They put out a special on like Netflix, and like I can't listen to that, like in a way that like, and it's not as valuable to just put out a CD anymore, like the Steve Martins of the world like won't exist anymore because like that whole that CD was the biggest comedy album that's ever existed in the universe. So, and we even I remember in COVID we put the record on because that's where we were at, we're doing records now. So we were listening to the Steve Martin record, and it's it was just aesthetically really cool. And the Patton Oswalt CDs that I used to listen to all the time, those were so freaking good. I would just listen to those on repeat. And then I'll never forget this moment I had. I was listening to a Patton Oswalt record, and I just wasn't paying attention. I heard this album 1,000 times over, and my windows are down, and I'm driving through a city, and I stop at a stoplight, and then he has a joke about getting spam porn emails. And he starts reading what they say. It's like hot girl, and then just the most aggressive words of just this spam of aggressive words. And I'm just sitting there at a stoplight, and I'm not really thinking about what's happening. And I look up, and I'm just and I start I snap back into place, and I look over, and there's this little old lady on a little bench, just kind of what is he listening to? Just the downfall of the
my
world.
Windows down,
just enjoying the day and having a time. Oh gosh, I felt like such a jerk. It's I'm so sorry. What is it? Anthony Jeselnik, obviously. His special's so freaking funny.
Yeah, I love Bill Burr and John Mulaney.
Oh, freaking Bill! Oh my god, John Mulaney. Yeah, Bill Burr, John Mulaney. John Mulaney's always funny. He's just such an old crooner of a man, and any bit he has, it just makes me laugh.
Or I love Norm Macdonald. Rest in peace, Norm. He cracked me up so bad. I know he's not for everybody, but what his dry stuff was like the driest thing ever. And I love when he would go on like Conan and like tell a 15-minute joke that had like the dumbest punchline ever. And Conan would just sit there knowing what was going on, but would just let him do it. Oh, that stuff just cracks me up.
My favorite thing was, what is it? I think this is in his special, Anthony Jeselnik talks about working with Norm, and he was like, I love Norm. He's my favorite person in the entire world. He's like, but when I was we did Last Comic Standing together, and he was like, they went on to do like a press tour together, and he's like, when they first started together, they hated each other, they like clashed, but then like by like episode 4, they like started getting along. But then they did the press tour together. He goes, hey, why don't you go out there and because he went first and then Norm went second, and then he was like, why don't you go out there and just talk all kinds of crap about me for like the whole interview, just like, let's just pretend like we hate each other, and I'll do the same thing about you. He's like, okay. So he does a whole thing. Is like, how do you feel about working with Norm? And he's just like, he's a piece of crap. He's so mean, like or he's the worst, like just talking about everything. And then Norm gets out there and he starts saying like the nicest things in the world. Oh, he's just, wow, he's so good. He's just like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, so good. I love it.
Yeah, I love like Jim Jeffries or Shane Gillis. He's everywhere right now.
Yeah,
he's great.
That's right. There's some good comedy out there. I'm freaking man. Yeah, I just need them to come out with CDs just so I can enjoy the CD and not have to like pull up my, because I'll Google one. If you guys don't know, Ian Bagg is maybe his records are on Spotify, but he has a special on Prime. If you guys have that, check that out. It's so funny. He's so incredibly good off the cuff comedy. It's real bare bones. Ian Bagg. It's Bagg, I think. I watch it all the time. It's just like I'll just throw this on. No big deal. It makes me laugh. He's so silly. I think he sings "Happy Birthday" to somebody once. My favorite comic of all time. Paul F. Tompkins, hands down, favorite comic of all time. I my favorite bit that still makes me laugh every time I listen to it is a bit he has about what's it called? Peanut brittle. In the snakes, like the old magic, like, you know, like, oh, do you want some peanut brittle? Snakes. It continues to be the funniest thing I've ever heard. You can find it on YouTube. Just find peanut brittle Paul F. Tompkins. Oh, it's so stupid and wonderful. He just over explains the entire situation, and I love every podcast he's on and everything. I just saw him for the first time live doing the Bradtopia. Because I was just like, and my friend, I was like, Paul Tompkins is coming to Cleveland. Like, we were so excited. We're like, we thought it would never happen because we're such a flyover state. But it was fantastic. I was so excited to see him live. And he did not let me down. He sang what did he finish the show with? He finished the show singing some like pop song. I forgot what it was, but it was great. He was just like, but in like a old ragtime way, like, fantastic.
Yeah, and I love going to, going to see like the big name people that like that we just mentioned and stuff. I love that, but there's nothing better than going to a club and seeing like one of these people, but seeing like the opener, somebody you didn't know, somebody that you just walked in like, oh, there's a comedy show tonight. Let's pay the $10 or whatever and see what's up, and they just being blown away by somebody that you know nothing about. It's like you go into a club and seeing that like a local band, like back in like the 90s or something.
Oh yeah.
Or not even a local band, but just like a band that you had never heard of before. And you're like, oh my gosh, that was the coolest thing ever. Like I had no idea who this person or this band was. And I saw them back when, that kind of a thing,
Yeah. There was a guy who came up, or I saw him at Hilarities. He was so freaking funny, and then he just started popping up in my For You page on TikTok, and I was like, "Oh, that's the guy." I'm gonna try to find him without me and my phone. But he's so incredibly funny, and just he's talking. What was it? I remember one joke. He was just like he was in Washington, or wait, no, not Washington. Where was JFK killed?
In Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. He was like, Dallas is an okay town. He's like, I kind of think that JFK may have killed himself. It's like, this town is just so. He's like, oh, it's so hot, and I gotta be in this parade.
Oh, that's too soon. It's too soon.
Too soon. Too soon. I won't be able to
I was there probably like 8 to 10 years ago. I was down in Dallas for a wedding, and we went there for the day down to Dealey Plaza and kind of did the whole thing. Was on the case, Still working on it though. I'm not, I still think there's something going on with that Zapruder film in the grassy knoll. So one of these days, I'm gonna get this solved. But yeah, that's
you're gonna crack it.
I was surprised at how small that area actually was. Like, it seems like it's much bigger on film, and then when you get there, you're like, oh my gosh, that shot is not that far away.
Yeah, that guy was right there. He honestly should have seen the bullet at this point.
Yeah,
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, but I got a couple of February 6th birthdays and historical events that happened on this day. Besides the most important thing, which was your birthday,
my birthday.
you share birthdays with a couple notable people. Some very cool. Bob Marley. I mean,
Bob Marley.
You're probably not as big of a fan, but Babe Ruth, the GOAT.
Babe Ruth. Back when you could smoke cigars and be the best player in baseball, and just like the fattest dude you knew.
Like, I just ate 3 steaks and smoked a cigar. Oh, it's my turn to hit. Okay, I'm just gonna go hit a home run, so I don't have
the build of a bowler. Let me dig into these nachos real quick and then hit a home run.
Ronald Reagan has a birthday today. Another, for old timers. Zsa Zsa Gabor. Your birthday was Zsa Zsa Gabor. And then the two, I think, I'm Bob Marley aside, but the two most notable musicians on here, Axl Rose. I mean, come on. I mean, when you think of February 6th, you think Dave Spencer, Axl Rose. Those are the two things. And probably the coolest.
I should storm off this podcast. Just like it.
Like, Dave, you showed up a half hour late and you left early. You threw the mic at the crowd and just left.
Yeah.
You're like, it must be the birthday.
Imagine being a podcast diva like that. Just people are like, I just won't listen. Like, you don't get it though. You think you're being edgy. You're just like, I don't even care. You guys will show up either way. It's like, no, we won't. I'm in my house.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I've seen Guns N' Roses a couple times, and I've seen Axl come out an hour late, and the whole time you're like, man, this guy, but man, once they start playing that show, you're like, it was worth the wait, that's pretty good.
You're like, all right.
and finally, the king of the Rickroll, Rick Astley. You share birthday with Rick Astley.
That's my favorite one.
Dave, I'm never gonna give you up, man. I'm never gonna let you down.
Never gonna tell you love. Hurt you. I love that it's so synonymous with that specific like activity that like even my kids know about it. They're unaware of what that song is actually, but like it comes on and they're just like they'll do like a little dance just because it's like so it's so synonymous like with YouTube culture still, and like as like a thing that's in the zeitgeist of like a silly activity.
Yeah.
So weird. And it started from like a bastardization of duck roll, which was another thing that like people would send you a link and it would just be like one of those like old ducks that you would pull and it had those little like flaps, like whatever, and it was just a video of that, and then they changed it to Rickroll, and that would be the thing that you mess with people with, so then it changed to Rickroll.
Yeah, and then they're making fun of to Rick. I mean, that song slapped back in the day. It still slaps. And everybody makes fun of the video essentially. And I remember seeing an interview with him one time where he was just like, we had no budget. It's like my first single. They gave us like $200 and we're like, go make this video. He's like, I'm just like a regular dude. They dressed me up in these weird clothes. They were like, here, start dancing. He's like, I can't dance. Like, he looks so awkward in the video because he was like, this isn't like, I can't dance. I don't dress cool, and then so that was just the culmination of a day's worth of people dressing him up and telling him to dance. It looks ridiculous, now, but at the time it was straight 80s. That it didn't even seem that odd back then.
Me and you know for a fact because we've sat there on our video, not even video roulette. We used to just watch an old 80s, retro video channel. Remember the 80s one that we used to just like have on? Like, let's just put this on. None of those people had a budget. Every single, even the videos that you thought were cool back then are terrible. Most of them are completely aimless. Like, I'm like, why? None of these things. I understand like a lot of it's like we're being artsy, but like at a certain point you go like, you're not saying anything. Like there's just a lady with a record taped to her eye, and she's walking around with a mini skirt. And then all of a sudden a slice of cheese shows up, and he's like, wah! And you're like, what's the word? Is this about capitalism? What are we saying?
What's the deeper meaning here?
Yeah. It's like if there's a meeting, no one's getting it, and we're all laughing. Like it's God.
Yeah, and like the video isn't metal enough until there's swords and like a shark, a random shark, and just explosions, and that's what made it so cool. Like there was no rules, there was no limits. It was just like, I don't know, like right here in the middle, like during the guitar solo, let's just show a shark, just random video of a shark, or one
of my favorite what was it, Patton Oswalt jokes, going back to Patton Oswalt. He was just like, if you listen to music in the 80s, you're gay. You were gay because every single video was just like two guys with no shirts on, all wet, with a factory that just makes sparks apparently, and then miles away were these girls dancing.
Yeah.
Just like rubbing their bare backs together. It's like,
I love the 80s. That was my jam. Everything about it.
I know. It's like I've thought about the things that like scratch, because I know for a fact that I know what scratches your itch specifically with music. It's like that whole genre, and I'm listening to. So I almost exclusively like if I need music that I know I'll just enjoy outright. I've just been putting on this band called Hot Mulligan, and they're kind of like a screamo emo kind of like band, but just a little more upbeat. And it scratches that itch so perfectly. I was like, I don't think they could make a bad song. Like for me, that fits. Like, I mean, if there's a brick that needs to be inserted, as far as like, it fits perfectly. It's like the corners. There's not a gap. Like like it's just like it vibrates my brain. And the other day, and like I can hear these songs over and over and over again, and I don't get like sick of them. I mean, even to the point where the other day I took the day off of work and I worked at my buddy's office. I took the day off work and then I worked. I worked on something else that wasn't work up at my buddy's office. And I just like put on Hot Mulligan and was just like, this is perfect. And I'm jamming like this is the first time I've heard this album, but it's not. And which was fun because then I found out, because I'm listening to this, I've never heard anybody who like knows this band because I don't know any people who listen to this kind of music. And then Chris came up behind me. He's like, "You listen to Hot Mulligan?" And I was like, "Hold up, like, you listen to Hot Mulligan?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "How? I wish I would have known this because I've been trying to go to the concert, but obviously my wife doesn't listen to this music. She's a 70s 80s girl. Like that's the kind of music she likes. She doesn't like. She thinks that like the kind of screamo music is stupid. And she's just kind of like, what are you, 4? Like, what are you, 14? I'm like, this is good. You don't understand. Yeah. I'm angsty.
Well, yeah, I mean, she didn't walk around in Jankos and frosted tipped hair, so she doesn't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't get it. Don't get me, Dad. Oh, cheers.
But a couple interesting historical events that are associated with today. February 6th, National Chopsticks Day in the United States. I mean, what more?
Is it really?
Yeah, National Chopsticks Day. It is also International Frozen Yogurt Day.
Ooh.
The board game Monopoly was originally released by Parker Brothers in 1935 on February 6th, in celebration of your birthday.
Immediately want to flip it.
And thank God for this. In 1815, on February 6th, the first commercial cheese factory in the United States was established in Rome, New York. This marked a significant step forward in the American cheese industry.
That's our greatest accomplishment as a country.
Packaged cheese is where it's at. I mean, what would we do without packaged cheese?
Is there anything that's better? You know what? I always think it's weird. Like, we ever see those like cheese drying like huts that they have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I'm blown away by them. I'm just kind of like, how? it's not refrigerated. Like what?
Yeah.
And I understand that like I'm an idiot thinking that, but like I'm just like I think milk, I think you can't just leave that out. And they're just like, no. It just goes on a shelf. And I'm like, oh, like a shelf in a fridge? They're like, no, a shelf in a hut. That's a wood hut, and it's just outside.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, you're like, okay. Like, oh man. I remember for a while there I was involved in this I was watching this like guy's channel on TikTok, and he would specifically like this big burly Italian dude, and he would break cheese and then take a slice and he would like eat it and be like, oh yeah. And I was just like, what am I watching? It was so like weird, but I was like somehow just like flabbergasted. I don't know, people who just, you could tell he like really enjoyed cheese and like had crazy cheeses and stuff like that, and I was just kind of like just enthralled by the whole situation. I don't know, but it's so weird.
I know. We should do like a whole special one day on exotic cheeses.
Oh, love that. I love that so much.
Then we could have pairings with beer and wine, you know.
We'll have a fancy episode. We'll play like soft classical music in the background.
Yeah, I mean, think it like today, people, you know, hopefully they were going to tune in and think they were going to hear something about like the, you know, Bigfoot or like the Loveland Frogman from Ohio, but what they got was art museum and you know,
our comical genius.
Some comics and some music talk. But I mean, you know, I'm sure that people would enjoy. You know, we're like amateur sommeliers. You know, we just we pair wines and cheeses, and you know
what? I like that.
Yeah.
We're just like, have you thought about this craft single with a Franzia?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I like to get crazy and not just get regular cheddar. I get sharp cheddar.
Whoa,
that adds that extra little spark that I'm looking for.
Have you thought about the angles and what they're doing to your insides? That's sharp cheddar. We actually, for my wife's birthday, I took her to was it her birthday? It was our anniversary. I took her to one of those cheese barns because she loves cheese. And we got out of the car and I was like, look. And she's like, I mean, I don't like cheese, like take me here for an anniversary cheese. I was like, whatever.
She's like, oh, I thought we were going out to a fancy restaurant. And Dave's like, no, we're here to get fancy cheese.
Which I spent like $100 on cheese, by the way, which all went bad because you could like, I was like, literally, I was just halfway through because you start like, I mean, those places go hard, by the way. Like they put things in there that you're like, I want to see what that tastes like. So like you get an entire block that's like $10 of like bacon cheese. But let me tell you, by like your third block of cheese in a week, you don't want to eat cheese for a while. That stuff does not hold. Yeah. I was like, I could have spent $50. There was, I remember just grabbing like 3 and being like, yeah. There was like a buffalo chicken one, and I was like, this will be great. But like, I just was kind of not. I needed like a quarter block and then go bananas. But like, that's not how they sell it. They sell it in a full block, and that stuff is $10 a piece, and you can have to eat it. But I did also take her to a nice restaurant. But I will have to say,
well, that's
we
good.
did do that also.
Which
sucked because my wife is a Sherlock Holmes, and not even Sherlock Holmes. She's very observant, and I was Googling like times and stuff like that, like, and then she came down the stairs, and she maybe had like a quarter second to absorb the information. She immediately looked at the website I was on, just like getting directions and like times and stuff, and then was like, oh, I know that. Oh, we're going there. Like she told me on the way there, she's like, I kind of know where we're going. And I was like, how? Like a quarter of a second. I mean, like I wouldn't be able to tell you what Google looked like in a quarter of a second. She was like, she's like, got it. I know it. Like, were you looking at this restaurant? What do you mean? Like, how do you know what their website looks like?
Yeah.
I was unaware of the restaurant at all until that day, or like the day before or whatever. But yeah, so she spoiled the surprise for herself.
Well, that's you weren't aware of it because you spent all that time researching cheese barns. You know,
which, by the way, we were only like, there was no tell on the cheese barn part, and we're like driving just towards Sandusky, which is, you know, just a direction. You know, we're just going, you know, west. That's it. She goes, are we going to the cheese barn?
Yeah.
I'm like, how would you know that? How, in what world would you know that? Like,
I've been seeing the roadside signs for the last 40 miles. It's a.
I know, but like, there's an entire world in Sandusky. There's no like tells for that. Like, it's just like we could be doing anything that way. And she's like, "Are we going to the cheese barn?" I'm like, "How would you know that?" I can't surprise her. I don't know how to surprise her. It's impossible.
Well, that's when you say no, and then you take her to that exotic petting zoo that's out there. And then you totally pick her, and you're like, I was gonna do the cheese barn, but no.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah, flip it up on her. We go to we do. Oh, actually, that would be kind of fun. I was thinking, look, we could do like putt and stuff. There's like a whole like one of those like fun adventure time kind of things where it's like, let's do go-karts and stuff and bumper boats. Which I remember when I was a kid and bumper boats. Like when I grew out of bumper boats. Like literally grew out of bumper boats, like because I was riding them and I was like, as a kid, like this is fun. And then like the one day my knee kind of was like it was really uncomfortable to turn them because like my knee was rubbing and I didn't understand what happened because I didn't understand how like I was growing so quickly, and I had like a growth spurt and I just like was like, why is my knee rubbing so? I was like, what's happening? And I was like, this whole experience is terrible. Like I was like having a bad time, and then I realized, you know. Couple months later I was like, I was a growing boy. I'm a growing boy now. I can't ride bumper boats. I'm an adult now. I can't do that anymore. Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, I am gonna call it because I have to go get some sweet Cuban food, and I'm very excited about that. And so I thank everybody for joining us on my very special birthday extravaganza where we talked about no monsters, and if it helps, Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, Bigfoot, all-time faves, they be thriving.
Next week we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll just do this again. Who knows? You can't stop us. It's my show.
That's right.
All right. Well, the Kitchen Conversation is over for this week, but we hope you join us every Friday at 5. We're usually live. Not this week. We have another thing. But we so it's pre-recorded. We apologize. But we thank you for joining us. We have Monster Soup Podcast at gmail.com. If you have any stories you want to share with us or come on the show, Monster Soup Podcast on Facebook, and then Mischief Factory if you want to check out my stuff, and then follow me on TikTok because I'm doing a bunch of fun stuff in there now under Mischief Factory. If you want to find me, it's just Mischief Factory. Mischief, like you're up to mischief, and then Factory. Mischief Factory on all the things. Yeah, it's a good time. All right, thanks guys. See you next week.
Happy birthday.
Bye. Oh, thank you.